Help us change the culture by buying our latest single from Timcast Records, Only Ever Wanted, by clicking the link in the description below. We have this from Newsweek. It's from Richie McGinniss. He's a good friend of the show. It says, I was in Kenosha 2 years ago. Kyle Rittenhouse is not a hero. There's a lot to go through in his op-ed to understand his position. He says, before the shooting started, 11:36 p.m. on August 25th, 2020, I ran into Kyle Rittenhouse in front of a gas station and interviewed him for several minutes. He was a 17-year-old kid with a semi-automatic rifle, and he was playing cop, surrounded by people who didn't want him there. Rittenhouse didn't see it that way. Quote, so people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business. And part of my job is also to help people. He told me for the third night in a row, half of downtown Kenosha was ablaze. When there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. 13 minutes later, Rittenhouse standing feet from me would kill one man. A few minutes after that, he'd kill another. Then he'd maim a third. Interesting thing is, unless we have to read the whole piece, I'm not going to do it. Richie mentions that he remained neutral, kept his opinion to himself so that he could be a witness on the stand. And he pushed back when when the prosecutors tried claiming that Rittenhouse wasn't being threatened. He was like, Rosenbaum said F you and then reached for the gun, things like that. Mm-hmm. But Richie, Drew, you were there and you read this article, so you should give your position and give your argument.
I was in the trial too. I'm not going to attack Richie here, right? Richie can have his own opinion. That's fine. That's cool. But I was there too. Okay, I saw the same exact things. I watched Joseph Rosenbaum get shot. I was right behind Richie when he put Rosenbaum in the back of the ambulance. All that same trauma.
They were hitting him?
I witnessed it too. Yes, I witnessed it too. All that same trauma. But the real question here is Kyle Rittenhouse really the villain? And this goes back to the point I was trying to make, is what happens when law and order pulls back? Are you left to defend yourself? Are you left to defend your own community? Because that's what happened in Kenosha. I wasn't there on night 2, and I wasn't just there on night 3. I showed up night 1. I blew up that story that went worldwide, the Kenosha riot. That was my footage. So when I speak on this, no one can talk about Kenosha without talking about the context of Kenosha, right? Jacob Blake got himself shot. They started throwing bricks at police officers' heads. I showed up on the scene that night. They were burning down Kenosha, period. It was not a protest. There were no protesters. And the rioters are the ones that showed up with guns and were pointing them at police officers. For 3 consecutive nights, they did this. They burnt down multiple car dealerships, okay? They were burning, committing arson, looting, the whole 9 yards. The police were being told to stand down. This is why the community in the area, if you guys remember, they were boarding up the windows and they were writing things like, hey, elderly people live here. The handicapped live here. You want to know why? Because that little community thought they were going to die because of these rioters. All right.
There was an old man who got bashed over the head with a rock.
Exactly. But this is
filmed on
when you
camera.
talk about why Kyle Rittenhouse was in Kenosha, you have to talk about this stage that led to people showing up.
Oh, and banging on the table. Wait, so don't bang.
I'm sorry, this isn't my show.
You're feeling this.
But
it goes through the microphone.
Yeah, you have to talk about why was he even in Kenosha, right? And they always say, oh, he crossed state lines. Antifa on night 2 after the first night of rioting were literally mobilizing from Portland and Seattle to cross state lines to go riot. Multiple.
I want to point something out here. This gets to the heart of the argument. This is an article from Richie, and he brings up something interesting. He says, protesters kept trying to climb into the SUV. This is after Rosenbaum got shot. I couldn't see who was punching me, but the blows kept coming. I kicked someone trying furiously, crazily to grab onto the rear bumper as we raced to the hospital. When we finally got there, we stopped at the bottom of a ramp leading to the ER. I tried not to cry as we waited for the metal security door to open. It's going to be okay, bro, I told Rosenbaum. We're going to have a beer after this and laugh about it. It was hard to hear my voice over the sounds of Rosenbaum struggling to breathe and gargling blood instead. As we pulled into the hospital, I watched Gage Grosskreutz limp through its doors. A police officer held his butchered arm. It was a mangled mess of flesh and bone, not fully amputated, but not quite an arm. I didn't know it at the time, but Anthony Huber was lying dead on the pavement just outside the hospital. So here's what I see here. I think Richie is affected emotionally by this.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that.
And from my perspective, having been someone who was not there, but who interviewed all of you guys, and on more than one occasion, I hear a story, and I've seen footage, and I've heard a trial, and I see a man, Rosenbaum, who threatened to kill a 17-year-old kid more than once, and then tried to make good on that by reaching for the weapon. The moment he reached for that weapon, he created the threat of deadly force against Kyle. Because if he got control of that muzzle and then started fighting Kyle, who knows what would have happened? A gunshot went off behind Kyle. Now all he knows is a guy is chasing me who threatened to kill me. Someone's shooting and I don't know where. And he turns around and what does he get? Rosenbaum tries to grab the gun. Richie's affected by that, saying we're going to have beers together. I get it. I've seen some horrifying stuff, not nearly that level, but I've seen people die. I've seen people be seriously injured. And I can certainly understand why Richie was looking at that and like on the verge of tears, being like, we're going to grab beers, bro. From an outside perspective, looking at this from a mathematical, a logical standpoint, that makes no sense. This is a guy who was threatening to kill someone and attacked them. Why you would want to get beers with them as if they're the victim when they're the aggressor. I'm not happy that this happened to him. I'm not happy that Kyle was there. I think even Kyle said he probably wouldn't have gone, in hindsight or something like that. I'm not happy that somebody lost their life. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm going to shed a tear over the guy who instigated violence, threatening to kill somebody. Like, we have to recognize violence is wrong. It sucks. It's bad. And then we have to recognize Rosenbaum initiated it. He was the one who was doing the bad. And we were lucky that Kyle was able to defend himself. It was unfortunate for everybody that it played out this way.
Well, Joseph Rosenbaum said, shoot me, N-word, multiple times and was requesting to get shot. So he got his death wish. He got what he wanted because he was there committing crimes literally 5 minutes before that took place. Joseph Rosenbaum not only requested to be shot, okay, but he was committing arson right before they even got to that car dealership where that all took place. So people understand, it's like Kyle was administering first aid on both sides. He even admitted that under oath in the trial as well. So like, it's like, you have to understand I always make this point. These were not good people. These were not good people. These people were a threat to the community. They always will be. They always have been, because they were rioting and committing mass violence for consecutive nights. Joseph Rosenbaum was not a good guy, and the guy was asking to be shot, saying the N-word at a so-called BLM protest. I don't feel sorry for the guy
no one
at
cared.
all.
Nobody cared that he was doing it.
To your point, Drew, I mean, I think maybe a better title of the article would be, Kyle Rittenhouse isn't a hero, but they are not victims either. And the part of the article that I thought was really interesting and poses a lot of good questions was later on when Richie talks about Kyle Rittenhouse gaining national fame, right, and being put up on stages and hailed as a hero. Like you said, Drew, the police were told to stand down should there be some sort of community action where people do go out and protect their businesses, protect their homes. Should it be an 18-year-old with an AR-15, with the police standing down? I don't know, right? If there's no law and order, if there's no police presence, then is it in the hands of the citizens to take action? Should an 18-year-old go out there? Some people would say yes, that 18-year-olds should arm up and go out and protect their communities. It's an interesting question, and I don't have the answer to it.
I think destroying someone's home is
the
one of the worst crimes you could ever commit. Killing someone is probably the worst. Just breaking someone's body, destroying someone's body, probably the worst. Destroying someone's home is probably the next worst crime.
Absolutely.
And, death penalty kind of stuff. Like if someone goes to a city and burns the city down, you've essentially destroyed 100 million people, or 10 million people.
I'm over here all anti-death penalty, and Ian's like, death penalty for rioting.
You cannot let people destroy people's homes. I mean, this goes back 100,000 years of torching villages and things. That's like the worst thing, almost the
if
worst
you're
thing
killing
you can
people,
do. Even if you're just destroying their homes and sending them off into no man's land, that's also horrific to do to a human.
So I think that the problem, I'm anti-death penalty, and I think it's because the state can never definitively prove that they have the right person. There's a risk there of giving them the authority. But the idea of defending yourself from someone trying to burn down your home, now that's a more interesting question. Mm-hmm. I'm fairly certain that if you are in your house, almost every state, and someone is trying to set fire to it, they are trying to use lethal force against you, and that would justify the use of lethal force in kind. West Virginia especially. If you're in West Virginia and someone comes with a Molotov cocktail to throw at your house and they're about to throw it, you are justified in using lethal force to defend yourself.
A lot of states have codified that destroying someone's home is one of the worst things you can do, and that you can shoot on sight if they step onto your property. A lot of states have those gun rights. Some states maybe are a little more lenient than that.
Well, the article also attacked Turning Point USA for, bringing Kyle on stage, and, we really wanted to have like a celebration for him. That's what that was. And it's like, that's okay. This is kind of like, this falls under the category of the new right? It's like where no one's trying to make him a celebrity. It's like we had a W. Okay, we got a W with that. Because not only did he defend himself, not only did what he did was right to defend himself in that moment in the context of everything happening, but even the trial itself, with all of the defamation, saying he shot black people, President Joe Biden coming out saying he's literally the poster boy of white supremacy, okay? The deep state and these powers went after him hard. Pure defamation, okay? That same playbook that gets put on everybody. Kyle won. Kyle won because God was on his side and he was acting in truth and righteousness. The point I'm trying to make is the reason why we wanted to celebrate that is because we have to at this point. We have to. How many L's, like, aren't people sick of just continually taking L's to these people, continually letting the deep state win, continually letting them just go after anyone that's a freedom lover or a patriot? It's like every single time they get what they want. We finally had hope where, honestly, I thought Kyle was probably going to be put away.
Yeah.
The way things were going, the way things always go, these people always win. They always win. They always get a W. I'm sorry that we decided to celebrate our W for once in a while because righteousness won and justice won when Kyle was vindicated because what he did was not wrong. We are going to celebrate that. America is going to celebrate that because it was the little guy versus Big Brother. That's what that trial was. And the little guy won. America won. Justice won. And we will celebrate that and we will not be apologetic.
The culture war right struggles to organize properly consistently.
It's stuff like that because someone comes out and criticizes like, far be it from us that we celebrate something that because we have to look all good. No, those days are over.
Look how long it took Joe Rogan to be like, okay, maybe you should vote Republican.
Exactly.
I mean, for all the thing that Joe's talked about, that he's criticized, he's still maintained that, he's a liberal or whatever. And we've not heard it until recently. He's like, okay, maybe you should vote Republican. Well, I think if you look back at everything Joe told me, before, or not before the election, but I mean, even still before the election, if you look at the things he was talking about during the pandemic, you'd think he'd have come out sooner and been like, guys, you maybe should vote Republican. Like, is the issue with Joe, for Joe, that he only just realized the mistakes were made, right? So he's talking to Aaron Rodgers and he says mistakes were seriously made during the pandemic. Did Joe not know that during the pandemic? That he wouldn't come out hard and be like, guys, these lockdowns are wrong. You need to vote out these people who are doing it, and it is the Democrats overwhelmingly who are doing it. He didn't say that. It's now he's saying it, and he's saying it with a laugh. Mm-hmm. And so I look at that, and then I look at, like, there's limited organizational power, but we're working really hard. Parallel economy. I've never been happier, right? Parallel economy, Dan Bongino founded it. It's financial transactions, censorship resistant. The cultural stuff the Daily Wire is doing. They're making movies. They brought Gina Carano on. They've got more projects in the works. What is a Woman was an amazing documentary. We've got we Rumble, everything Rumble is doing. Mm-hmm. But that's the big challenge right now. The component that you have to compete with these institutions, the media apparatus, is microscopic. It's tiny, and so everything has to be done across the board to build out these industries, to build out a space that has money, so that people can be hired, so that people can be like, if someone gets fired from their job for speaking out, there's a place for them to go. If, I'll tell you this, Taylor Silverman, the female skateboarder, we hired her, and I'm excited because we're going to have her lead our skate projects. She was one of the first in the skateboarding industry to come out and be like, hey, this is not okay that biological males are competing against us. How am I supposed to make a living competing when I'm at this disadvantage for these reasons? And they attacked her relentlessly. And so I responded with, we're going to do our best to make sure that you're not left hanging because you decided to do what was right. Mm-hmm. Too many people are like, if I stand up, no one has my back. How can that be? How can we cannot accept that? The Daily Wire brought on Gina Carano when they tried destroying her career. The Daily Wire has your back. Mm-hmm. They can't carry everyone. Mm-hmm. We've hired and worked with a few people in similar situations. Pete Parado, when The Offspring fired him, I thought we got lucky. Pete's such an amazing guy, and he's been in all these different bands. We're lucky. And Taylor Silverman, I can't look at that and then be like, we're going to ignore you when you do the right thing. No, we gotta make sure we're helping people in this regard. Otherwise, what happens is Kyle goes to jail.
Yeah.
If there was no support for him, if people didn't come out, and now, and I'll say this, when Richie was criticizing Turning Point USA, I'm glad Turning Point brought him out. I'm glad they clap and cheer for him. This dude's not going to have a normal job ever again. What is Kyle Rittenhouse supposed to do with his life after being attacked and lied about to this degree? You think he can apply to be a theater at an AMC? They're going to be like, no way, we're not going to hire you. So he needs to be able to live somehow. And them bringing him up and saying, talk to us, is one way to help make that happen.
I see
it
where
was not about it was not about, like, because you see this from the left always. Oh, the new star of the far right, Kyle Rittenhouse. It's like it's not that. That's not. This is literally what Tim just said. It's coming alongside someone that literally almost got obliterated. Literally obliterated. Okay, physically, possibly. God knows what Rosenbaum was going to do if he got a hold of his gun and took it.
He probably would have
right.
Through
Okay,
with his threat,
so this is coming alongside of a kid who almost lost his life in many ways, and showing him support. That's what it's about. Okay, like, just to give you guys some background stuff. Okay, Kyle wants a normal life. He'll never have a normal life. He didn't ask for this. He just simply wants to live as normal as he possibly can. Okay, like, whenever I talk to him, he's just like a normal teenage young man growing up. And right now, we don't want that. We don't want some huge, famous career for this guy. We just came alongside of him because we saw someone that literally almost got obliterated and destroyed by the deep state. So we decided to show him support. I know Charlie Kirk agrees with that. I know everyone that was on that stage agrees with that, because we saw exactly what happened to him, and that's what we wanted. And also, his family, his mom at the time, devastated. Imagine being a mother, seeing your child like literally being put in that kind of position to lose his life entirely almost. I mean, he did the right thing. But so we decided to come alongside and show them, like, hey, you're not alone. They want you to feel like you're alone. They want every single person watching this to feel like they're alone. And we're not going to do that anymore.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.